All right. Good afternoon, everybody. My name my name is Ismail Alamin. I go by Ish. You guys can just shout it out if you want. This will be very informal. I am the co-owner and CEO of the Piggyback Network. So Piggyback Network is a family-focused carpool solution, and I'm going to walk you through a little bit of our journey, a little bit of who I am, how this came about, and why we're here working with 21st Academy. So feel free, shout something out. I'm going to be asking some questions, kind of keep it interactive. Hopefully everybody's taking advantage of these nice little thingies that we got out there. And we also got some nice perks for everybody tonight, as well as the next couple of weeks as we try to build out this pilot program. Okay? So I'm going to talk about myself for a bit and how I came into this position. As a child, I was involved in sports, played baseball, started playing football pretty heavily. At 11 years old, both of my parents having to work, I had trouble getting to football practice. So my bus would drop me off at home, and I had to take public transportation to get to the park where I played football. I had a coach who lived near me who was telling my parents, hey, this is going to be a problem. We really want Ish to be a captain, to take some leadership this year, and is there any way you can get him here on time? Any parent knows when you got to make that decision, do I get him there on time or do I focus on my own job, my own career? You're kind of stuck in that situation. Fast forward, 16 years old, now I'm juggling track as well as football, as well as in an academically demanding school. And we moved to a house that required me to take a bus and two trains. It took an hour and 15 minutes to get to school, but I was at the best school. My parents had the best house. So it was just something I had to suck up. That was my childhood coming up. That's not unique to a lot of parents. Out of the parents, I think there's 173 million students in the US that's student age 0 to 18. 42 million of them are traveling by either parents dropping them off or school bus. So that's 58% of the youth in the United States are getting dropped off at school by a parent or by a school bus. And that's a time commitment. That's opportunities that we have to pick. Am I going to do this or going to do that? And it's also a lot of increased stress. I did this same pitch in May during Mental Health Awareness Month, and we really touched on a lot about what parents put on our own shoulders to make sure that the kids get what they want and get what they deserve. So what we created is a supplemental option for parents, those of us that drive every day. I've got to commute or I've got to drop three kids off, three different locations. I'm doing about 2.5 hours each way when I drop my kids off in the morning. I don't want to do that every day. I love the kids, but I think there's easier ways to do it. So those families that drive every day, we're trying to create another option for them so that they might be able to take a break, take some of that load off, and at the same time, create access for the parents who aren't able to make those drives, who have to lean on other people, who have to tell the kid, I'm sorry, you can't do it. I'm sorry, not this year. I'm sorry, not this location, not this program, not this school. We want to give all kids equal access to what they want to do, what they deserve to do. So the way the program works, we have parents sign up. They identify the data that they drive or that they are requesting for. My house is here. The target is here. This is the time that we want to go. These are the days of the week that we want to go. This is the season that we want to go. And then we have other members that are signing in saying, I drive from here to here already on these days, at these times, and the data is actually matched against each other. So we have requesting families, we have offering families, and we introduce those families to each other if they don't know each other already. So everyone in this room, you may know each other's faces, you may even go to one of the same schools, but do you know what the schedule is for that driving parent or that requesting parent? It's very difficult to just walk around and say, hey, do you fit what I need? But we can do that with the code that we wrote. So that's kind of the background behind it. We background check all of our parents, all of our drivers before they get into the matching process. So there's a national background check, criminal background check, county level background check, motor vehicle background check because we're operating a car, as well as a check in the sexual registry against all 50 states. So if we revisit, at 11, my coach told my family, hey, Ish is making it to practice late. We really have a leadership position ready for him. Is it possible for me to take him to practice? He lived around the corner from us, and he offered, I'm already driving that way. I can pick him up from home. I can take him to practice, make sure he gets there on time. Now I'm getting there on time. I'm starting the stretches out. I'm leading the team, bringing the equipment out. That was my first taste of leadership. That was my first, ability to actually take advantage of what the adults trusted in me and become the leader that I've become today. Ended up playing in high school, ended up playing in college, and it had a big part of my development. 16-year-old me, our teammates collaborated. Everybody in the city that was going to practice, coming home from practice, they would say, hey, I'm going that way. I can take you this far. If someone else can take you the rest, or if your parents can meet me here, we actually had a system where we could say, hey, look, I know you're getting there late. I know you're waking up early, but we can find a way to get you there where your parents are working. I ended up getting recruited to Princeton University. That's a big part of my development, where I met my co-founder, who lives here in Pflugerville, and a lot of how this came about. This is also me. So these pictures need to be updated. This is about 4 years ago when the idea first started. I'm driving my kids, so the two on your right, on the orange, and I'm also driving my siblings' kids because they're going to different schools, but we're coming from the same direction or going to the same direction. Sometimes my sister can't pick up. Sometimes my brother's out of town. Sometimes, a car gets flat. It's all these different things out there. I got a 7-seater when I had my second kid, and I was like, I know we're gonna need it. My wife's like, we don't need a car that big. My family has a lot of children. So I'm like, let's get the 7-seater, it'll come in handy. Sure enough, we're filling those seats. We're helping those families out. We help them, they help us. I'm flying out of Chicago today because I've got people that owe me because I take care of their kids. So they're watching my children today as I'm here presenting to you guys. So I'm my first customer here. I've been living this. I've been helping families out at the schools that we go to. I say, hey, look, I noticed, this kid is late getting picked up from the after-school program. I can help you out by dropping your kid off. I know you live along my route. And they're like, oh, that's so generous of you. I'd never help you out like that. And I'm like, that's fine. It's not in everybody, but for those that it is in, I want to create a system so that they can help out. So some of the perks that we've been putting out is that it's safe and convenient. I talked about the background check. We're working with a closed network of parents. You're only going to be matched with someone that you have an overlap with. So that could mean you guys are going to the same school. You guys are going to the same after-school activity. You guys might be coming from a similar housing development, and you may not know each other yet, or may just know each other by face, but we want to make sure you're meeting each other in person before you commit to these rides. So there's like a kind of an eHarmony kind of screening, first date kind of deal. Don't just match with somebody because we say you match. Feel them out. Go through a list of questions you've got. Explain to them about your children. My 7 and my 9-year-old are totally different girls. I need to walk you through to make sure you're okay handling these personalities if you're going to be driving with them. So we want those type of interactions before the parents agree, because we want you to feel like you have a reliable option in your phone to schedule these rides. We're also dealing with flexibility. We started this concept 4 years ago. COVID hadn't happened yet. So even back then, parents are like, I know what my schedule looks like this week. I can't tell you what it's gonna look like in the summer. I can't tell you what it's gonna look like next fall. I'm trying to get my kid into another school. I'm trying to start a new sport or activity. My daughter wants to do piano. You've got all of these different changing things. No parent wants to commit to, this is my schedule, this is my contract, every month I gotta pay this out to use this transportation service. It's flexible. It's gonna be changing sometimes week to week, sometimes month to month. So we wanted to make it flexible, and we wanted to work with families nationwide. We don't want this to be available to just this region, just this city, just this state. Parents are going through this every year. Parents are refreshing this with every changing environment. Now that we've got a lot of different work scenarios, and people are working from home, people are deciding to walk away from their jobs, people are deciding to relocate to cheaper locations so that they don't have to have dual incomes in the household. We've got so many different things that are going on that are supporting our flexible work model. Our pilot with 21st Academy, what we're trying to do is take advantage of the trust that your families and your schools already have. And we can see it on the floor downstairs. We can see it in everyone that's coming to speak. You guys are out for the same thing. You guys have the same thing in mind. You guys are looking out for the children, looking out for the parents, looking out for the facilities, making sure everybody's getting this well-rounded education. So we want to throw incentives at both the schools as well as the parents that are helping us grow this out. So for each facility that records a match, and match is just two independent families meeting each other on our platform, we're going to give $100 to that facility, to that school. And it's going to be a max of 10, so they can get up to $1,000. For the families themselves, we have a tier of incentives for them. We know not every family is looking for the same thing, so we have overall bonus just for signing up, where we're giving free points to the families, 20 points. And then we're also giving a $15 Target card just for signing up. And you can do that today. If you guys have the QR codes on the cards that I've got downstairs, they're actually in your swag bags as well. You can sign up and get those immediately. If you submit a ride, the rides that are submitted, everyone has a price to it. It's a price that's calculated based on the distance as well as the duration of that ride. And I can pull that up in a bit to show how the pricing works. If you email us how much your ride cost, we'll credit your account so that we take care of your first 5 rides. And there's no expiration on that. You don't have to use that this summer. You don't have to use it in the fall. You just got those points in your account. We're also looking to give an incentive for driving parents. So if you offer to drive, if you say, look, I'm driving this route every Tuesday, submit an offer. We're not going to say, hey, you're bound to that. That's just telling the data, match me with someone that's requesting. You have an opportunity later to meet that parent. If you match, go forward with it, start submitting the rides. But just for offering, taking that first step, we're giving out another $75 Target gift card. And that'll be emailed, the link will be emailed out. Attending the expo today, everybody will receive gift cards just for coming today and signing up at some point. So we're really trying to incentivize and throw that out there. And then there's also referral bonuses that we're working on. Any questions? All right, I'll tell you a little about myself and my co-founder, Donald. So as I mentioned, we met at Princeton University. We both played football. We both were electrical and engineering majors. 18 years as a software engineer myself, where I'm still employed. Just had my wife had our 4th child a week ago. And for a while, I wasn't sure if we'd make it today. But she came early, so, the house is loud, but I got to fly away for a day. And also a co-founder of a nonprofit, More Men in School, along with Donald, my co-founder. So Donald's also got a similar resume, both electrical engineers, both Princeton football. He's also worked in IT. He's been with IBM most recently. He's got 3 children of his own. And we really set out to do something that was going to be impactful but help our own lifestyles, trying to have these careers, trying to have a social life, trying to keep things excited with growing children, but also trying to make it easier for those that aren't as privileged or don't have as many resources available as I do with my family and as Donald does with his ability to, he'll just leave if he doesn't like a city. He'll just relocate. So he found Austin. They've stayed here for the last 9 years, and that's how they ended up here. So as I mentioned, the QR codes that are on the handouts, or this one here, if you guys want to take the time to sign up right now, as I kind of walk through a demo, I can hand out the gift cards to everybody that's actually become a member and attended today. So if anyone wants to take the time and scan that right now, I'll give you a second, and then I'll actually walk through a demo of the website. And let me know if it doesn't come through. Yes?
It does. I'm just going to kind of jump in here, especially to the school community, but even parents who are here. So we're working with them to launch the pilot program that he talked about. And so if you all want to take that back into your communities, right, as well, I'm here locally and can help you guys get set up. So I would encourage you to go ahead and sign up with it, and set up your communities. Because especially in our micro school communities and these things, we're already kind of a trusted network of people in our individuals, but I think a lot of us overlap as well. And so that was when we were talking to them, I was like, look, I know it's hard, saying some of the pain points and, the bigger communities and public schools, there's just a lack.
Is it showing? If it doesn't resolve, try to scan it from here.
In the homeschool, micro school, private school, there's not. We're almost the opposite. So, so I think this is an amazing opportunity for us to use our collective, community network, and which is a really cool solution, and they incentivize it. So anybody who's head of schools, your school, any member of your school that signs up will move towards incentivizing you to earn that $100 bonus to help out with your school program. And then all of the parents here who are signing up, basically, you'll walk them through the website, but it costs nothing. You incentivize. And then for those who become drivers, who doesn't want gas cards and Target cards today? So it's a really cool program. We've done it inside of our community and started setting up a lot of our families. So super excited about it, yeah.
Thank you, Nicole.
Yeah.
So one thing she won't say is that her group gave us a ton of great feedback. We're piloting. we are we are a startup, and we are trying to get this right, and we value the feedback of the parents that are giving us, any types of recommendations. So thank you for that, and we expect to get similar feedback as we grow. So when you first log in, you're going to see a lot of nice stock pictures of happy families. My family does not look like this when we when we load up the car in the morning. You already signed in? Thank you. So, but that's what sells, so that's what we put on the website. So what you're gonna do is, the first key to getting the incentives is you're gonna go to groups, and we wanna make sure everyone is affiliated with the groups that brought them in, and this is how 21st Academy gets their bonuses, and also you can create a group for your specific micro school if it's not there already. So we wanna definitely make sure that we're tracking who's helping us out, and that we're taking care of those schools as they grow. So that first step would be to go to groups, create a group if you need to. Everyone should join the 21st Academy, and this is not Facebook. We are not joining these groups. We are not creating like a lot of personalized like back and forth. If you want to meet members, if you want to communicate with members, you can do that. But this is strictly a platform to help out with transportation at this point. So don't feel overwhelmed. Don't feel like there's any kind of pressure. No one's looking at this data except me and the people I'm selling it to. I'm kidding. I'm not selling the data. There's no value in this except to the other parents that you're helping out. So after you've created a group and joined a group, requested to join a group, the data submission point is where we actually get into planning out how does your commute look. If you're thinking summer, if you're thinking what fall looks like next year, you're gonna start putting in locations first, and you're gonna think anything that has to do with what your child goes through on a regular basis. This could be home, this could be, yes.
When you join the academy, 21st Academy one,
Yep.
that's where you can match with parents, right?
So just joining a group just lets us see a list of the parents that belong to that group. We still got to go to submit data, and you actually start putting in your own personal information. Got it? So the match actually comes from submitting the data. Just joining a group, it's just giving us a list of who's in what. Got it? So I always start with, a demo with my own account, but I'm logging as Nicole right now. So what you do here is just start typing in an address, and Google's gonna kind of like try to predict what you've been looking up and where you are. So I'm putting in my home address here, and it should let you know what the rest of that address is. You're gonna verify the address just to make sure we're giving it the proper data. And when you verify, you should see a map. If verify wants to work, verify doesn't want to work. See, Nicole, I broke something else. So once you verified and put that in, that's probably something I need to look at. You're gonna move forward, and that's not working either.
I think you have to name it first.
Oh, this was the bug you put in. I remember. It wouldn't let you move forward. Nope, that's not it.
Oh, yeah.
This was working this morning. So now it's working. So once we've got a location in, you'll be able to move forward to routes. Your route's gonna be using the location you just created, so it's important that you put those in, because now what you see down here is based off of what you put in on the first locations tab. Once you've got a route created, you'll either go to offer or request. You can skip forward to request if you don't want to drive, and you can select the route that you just created here, and you can give it a name. And now is where you're going to get into the actual day of the week and the time that you're ready to do this request. So you got to do some thinking here. And it's not locking you in. If you have a location that you're leaving, let's say on Wednesdays your school gets out earlier, you can create a request for the same route but on different days and times. And that way you'll get matched with somebody who's offering a ride on that same day and time. So it gets kind of difficult. This is not a quick process, and we've lost some friends trying to have them help us out walking through this logic. So I apologize for that, but we'll get it right if we keep talking to willing parents and throwing out incentives to get people up here. So once you've got all of your data entered, You're done, and the rest is on us. We're gonna find matches that have similar overlapping routes. We're gonna email out the incentives that we've got for you, the things that you're qualifying for. We're gonna let your micro school know that, hey, we've got another member of yours that's matched with somebody, so here's an extra $100. And we're gonna make sure that the network keeps growing, that you guys are referring us to other parents, and that we can help build out this network as we're helping support you guys. So other than the one blunder on the very first thing that you've got to do, I'd say this was pretty successful.
Actually, I like that.
The time, yeah, everybody got stumped. Everybody's like, where do I start? So yeah, this is,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
and then somebody on the phone mentioned Domino's Pizza. Like, I want to know when it's baking. I want to know when it's done. And it's like, Domino's got it right.
Yeah.
Now, is there a tracker for the actual driver? We don't have the tracker, the en route tracker like technology yet, and it's not actually an app yet. Once it becomes a mobile app, then we can actually see the user data. But right now, it's a website on the phone as well as on the desktop, so there is no GPS tracking to it right now. That's a later phase that we want to put into. One more thing I want to point out, and then we've definitely got time for questions. Pricing. We wanted to make sure pricing was upfront. This is how I see it in my head. Some people say this looks confusing, but I want to make sure everybody sees it up front, what the base fare is, what it costs to add another mile, what it costs to add another hour, and the difference between peak and non-peak. Off-peak is going to be, there's no traffic out. You can drive a long distance in a short amount of time. We're going to charge less per mile and less per hour as well. When you're sitting in traffic, we don't want any surge prices in there, so we're going to change the rate that we're putting out there. So you'll see a little bit of fluctuation, but it doesn't change. What you commit to is what you're going to ride. There's no surge charges. We got a lot of flack from people that have seen surge charges. You know, some Tuesdays it costs this, some Tuesdays it costs that. We want to keep things up front and visible to each of the customers. So I wanted to type it out there what the formula is. And I encourage everybody to go to the pricing page and just type in what your route would be and calculate your cost, because we have a lot of people that run away just because there is a cost associated with it. My route that I take my daughter, that's hour and 15 minutes every day in Chicago, would cost me $17. So when I think of it, $17 worth getting my hour and a half round trip back, having my daughter meet another family to ride with, and just giving me time to breathe and save my brakes, then I think that that's worth it in my $17. And that's high. We haven't seen more than $12, I think, out of the pilots that we've started so far. And it's not necessarily an everyday thing. You're thinking of when it makes sense for you. Just because you match with somebody doesn't mean you have to match and ride with them every Wednesday, every Monday through Friday. It's whenever it fits your schedule. Any questions?
It's not a full commitment, like you're not.
When you submit your data, you're not committing to anything yet. Yeah, and when you get to the point that you're ready to ride, you say, okay, we've met the family, the background checks are in, all of that stuff's in. That could be weeks later, and then each ride would be a commitment. You would look at a calendar date and you say, hey, next Tuesday, can you pick us up? They say yes, you commit to that. But it doesn't mean you're doing it the following Tuesday.
Well, it's not like you're committed to 5 days a week, your job thing, you put in whatever you.
You're going, each request agreement is that one ride. Yep,
I
yeah.
can't remember if he doesn't like this comparison or if he legally can't make it, but I think to me, it's like Uber, it's like an Uber or a Lyft, just for your kids, right? So basically, all the network is I'm entering all my information, and I'm getting all my, whether I'm driving or whether I'm looking for a ride, I just put it there. And then I know who I match with, so, but I don't always need them.
Yeah.
You know, like, sometimes I'm like, I'm just gonna do it every Tuesday because I'm gonna now take a spin class, or oh, something popped up, now I need somebody to help, I can quickly jump on and, you know what I mean, and get that right, so it's like,
Right.
kids.
Okay.
Yeah,
I like it.
yeah. And these are parents too, so you can understand there's benefit in knowing it ahead of time. You know, you want to get a request in maybe 48 hours, you know, something in advance so they can plan it out. We want to try to avoid the, oh crap, it's 3 o'clock. Like, I forgot something. Yeah, 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 definitely. But yeah, you got.
He said our parents still, so that means they are not professional drivers, just like parents.
Right. It might be a parent who happens to be a professional driver, but we're not hiring drivers. You won't see This isn't DoorDash people trying to earn an extra dollar. This is, yes. These are people that work with car seats. These are people that know how to handle a tantrum, that listen to the music that you want to listen to. Yeah, they're seasoned. Yes. No, that was going into this. We didn't want to make it a paid driver thing. Those transportation companies exist, and they're out there for certain communities that can afford them. But when you start looking at the rates that they get, we couldn't get away with $5 and $7 rides if we're going to have paid drivers. So this was just saying, hey, look, we're taking drivers that are already driving that route, that are parents themselves, and we're supplementing their ride by giving them a little cash. And then on the other side, we're charging a little bit on that side.
And you do a background check for everyone.
Background check for the drivers, yep. Yes, sir.
Can you calculate my cost? Do you actually show, do you have like, part of your value proposition is not just I get my hour and a half back, it's also I don't put that cost on my car, right?
Right.
Like, so on that sheet, you actually like have a,
We don't necessarily go out with like, you're saving this mileage, but that is something as the pilots grow, we want to be able to show maybe by school, by micro school, we've saved your drivers this many miles.
or you may
Yeah.
even in that calculate my cost, if
Yeah.
part of the profile is what kind of mileage did your car get?
Yeah.
Or you can just take the standard 50 cents a mile or whatever.
Right.
IRS gives you and say, this is what you're saving.
Yeah.
The average cost of a vehicle.
Yeah, if they plug in what the frequency is, they're, yep,
$17 seems like a lot until I'm already spending $30 from the IRS
Certainly.
perspective for that mileage, right?
Certainly.
It seems like a bargain.
yeah. And then also you
Up on your estimated trip, so how much
Yeah.
does it cost and how much am I gaining?
right.
That's good.
And then when we built this, we didn't have the gas prices we have today. So that could be another thing you're factoring in there. You know, if I'm saving myself 50 miles a week, what is that in gas? So,
And even if you put that in when you're setting up their thing, what mileage do you have to get out of the car?
yeah, it's a good point.
Environmental impact could be part of your key performance.
Yeah, we kind of treating this like a Lego block. Every time we have a conversation, somebody builds a new structure out of it. So if we talk to somebody in law enforcement, they talk about how getting kids off the street and putting them into extra curricular activities in the afternoons when crime is high. It's a public service to that. If we talk to somebody on an energy side, they say, hey, this is promoting clean emissions and things like that. So yeah, we're happy that it's falling into those areas. It's just started off for me.
You're like, I just wanted to help drive.
I just wanted a break.
His partner, Donald, is the opposite. He's like, I don't drive.
Yeah. No, he actually,
He's like, I'm the driver. And
yeah. So my co-founder, he pulled his kids out of baseball because he's got 3 boys and one was a little bit better than the other. So number 2 didn't make it. He's like, you can't play baseball. We got to take the best one. And it's, it's realistic. It goes that way. Yeah. Your brother's got the best chance.
Carpool. You can carpool with the B team. See you later.
There you go. There you go. There's no favorites, but yep. That's the funny. Do we have any Shark Tank like employees in here? So when it comes to the companies that are looking for equity and looking to invest, they see numbers. So we're starting with parents who see value. And then if they see there's enough parents that see value, then they start to catch on. But I don't want, if I put this in the hands of somebody that's just looking to sign people up, we miss this. And it's, the best way to get a customer is do this, make it a purple background. It's like, that has nothing to do with. So yeah, we've got big plans for it. We're partnering with the YMCA in Chicago right now, a pilot for their summer program. And for them to have such an enthusiastic response, they're like, transportation, something we've never been able to get right. But if you take advantage of the parents that are already committed to the Y, they know the brand, they know what the Y is represented, they know the locations, they grew up with it, and add this as a supplement to that, they're like, this could be the solution we're looking for. So that type of a move could be something that if we get that right, then maybe a Shark Tank type deal is in the future. Another thing with so similar to what I said with the Lego piece, there's grants that this touches a lot of different services. This touches a lot of different services. Even building out the cities when they move the Amazon plant here, move the Tesla plant here. They're looking at how many families are going to be commuting, going to school. That's part of the number that they say yes or no to, why they have to keep building out roads and expanding roads. And so, yeah. Yeah, it's got a big impact, and we're excited about that.
I like it, you got a good product.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.